Chris Trew from Stratis.
Hi.
Chris, what is Stratis? It is you have an ICO offering, you have a token.
Correct.
And you also are a platform that people can build their tokens on.
Yes.
So tell us, who is your target customer?
We're really looking for enterprise organizations. That is our target customer. We're really going after the enterprise, but we work with companies of all sizes. We don't sort of say we'll only work with specific companies, but if I had to say which is a perfect company, I would say a large financial institution.
Right, but for that your token has to be that scalable.
Yeah,
that's what everybody's.
It has to meet many requirements. It has to be scalable. It has to be regulatory compliant. There's many different moving parts that have to be in place, but we're considering all of those, and we're trying to work towards that.
And you said Bitcoin is a subscriber or a user of your services?
No, so one of our advantages is that we develop a lot of tech for Bitcoin. Most of the companies in this space will develop tech for their token and their token only, but we develop tech not only for our token but for Bitcoin as well, because we see Bitcoin as being sort of the king of the hill and nobody's going to knock it off of the top spot. So we'd rather be a value add to Bitcoin, and we also believe that we should give back to the blockchain ecosystem, and there's no better way to do that than to develop tech for the biggest token out there.
Nice. And where are you based? Are you based in London?
We're based out of London, yeah.
You're based out of London.
Correct.
What's going to happen post-Brexit? Are you moving to Dublin or Frankfurt?
We're monitoring the situation, but we don't think that it will affect us too much.
Okay. So, I mean, the sterling is not, you can argue that the sterling pound is not safe anymore either, and so it is still a good time for tokens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any uncertainty in the financial market is always going to be good for cryptocurrencies.
Right, and it's also open to a lot of misuse and abuse, I'm sure, with fugitives countries, right? I mean, that's the biggest threat, but there's no regulatory authority that can stop it.
Well, I mean, they can try to stop it, but they can't actually stop it because it's decentralized. There's no central authority. Correct.
Yes. So if I were to commit a major fraud and all my money is in Bitcoin, I can just go to Canada, Mexico, Timbuktu, literally, and still cash out, and there's nobody who can really.
Yes and no. I mean, any Bitcoin broker that cares about their future would want ID from you. So anybody who was actually acting in accordance with regulation would not trade large amounts of fiat with you without identification, because they could then have problems with money laundering.
Correct. I mean, that's the biggest worry, right? And up to now, have you had any run-ins with any government questioning any of your transactions?
No, not until now. No.
Okay. Yeah. And you already have subscribers, and so other than London, where else do you have your subscriber base?
Our investment or our community are based all around the globe, so all four corners of the globe. Our actual team, we have guys in Australia, America, Europe, Asia, so we're very expansive.
Nice. And what about your subscribers? Who's buying token?
From all over the globe. I mean, we see concentrations in the US and the Netherlands specifically, and also the UK because we're from the UK. But I'd say the US is our main area of community.
So Netherlands, I mean, they adopted pretty early.
Yeah.
Why are the neighbors not catching up immediately? I mean, everybody travels to Amsterdam. They see it being used on the street.
Yeah, that is a very good question. I honestly don't know the answers as to why the adoption's so great around digital currencies in the Netherlands. I mean, if you look at countries like Korea and China, you can understand the adoption because they're used to sort of these digital point systems in their everyday life. So there wasn't that huge learning curve with them. But the Netherlands, I honestly have no idea as to why they are so quick to adopt digital currencies. Maybe they're just really forward thinking.
Right. So what about your company itself?
Yeah.
Everybody's competing for the same sharp guys who can, crunch the numbers.
Correct.
Whether it's for AI or blockchain or augmented reality. I mean, there's all these areas that really need a lot of brain power, which are you finding that you can predict there's going to be a wall when nobody can find any more developers?
Well, there's a big problem in the space in finding developers. We're very lucky that we haven't actually gone out to the market and recruited a single developer. Everyone's come to us. So we have a lot of developers coming through our door that will hang around for a few months, and once they see how serious we are and how hard we work, they want to join us, and they'll leave their 9 to 5 day job and then join us. And that is literally everyone in the organisation, from all the way from the CEO down. So it creates a really good culture that everyone wants to be there. We haven't gone and hired people. People have sort of found us. Exactly, yeah, the loyalty is there. Yeah.
So what's your plan for this conference? Are you hoping to meet a lot of partners, or do you have a booth?
Yeah, we have quite a large booth over there. We're hoping to meet partners to increase the awareness of our token, also to generate leads of potential customers as well.
Right. So are you done speaking?
We haven't got a speaking slot, and the reason for that is so we're at the back end of developing our platform, and come Q1 2018, the focus is really going to switch from the development to the business development, bringing the customers through the door. So we didn't want to have a speaking slot until we had our final end-to-end product, so we could sort of come out with a big bang. I mean, I could stand up there and talk about ICOs all day, but no one wants to hear another talk about ICOs.
So why was it just to attract investment that you floated a coin or the token, or is it, how did you decide that you need a new ICO?
Yeah, so we were wanting to develop a blockchain platform, so for that you're going to need a blockchain, and that sort of created the requirement for doing an ICO. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we've got a big problem in the space at the moment that you see a lot of ICOs doing ICOs with blockchains that don't actually need blockchains, and they're just doing it because they see it as a far easier method of raising funding, because if they went to a traditional VC, like we spoke about, they would have to provide business models, there'd be due diligence, and they probably wouldn't pass it. But with an ICO, you can create a 2-page document and raise 10 million. So,
and you have two products at the same time.
Exactly.
You have a blockchain and you have the... so what kind of enterprise clients would use Stratis?
So pretty much we're not locking it down to any industry. I would say any enterprise organization would have some system or some process that could be implemented on the blockchain.
And is it necessary when you have companies like Microsoft or Oracle, like I can hedge my risk to a larger company whose platform I'm already using?
Yeah.
And there are things like HIPAA compliance and financial compliance and checks into these things already.
Yeah.
So what is this advantage? How would you tell your uncle who voted leave?
Yeah.
How would you explain?
It's education. In this space, a lot of things are just about educating people. For instance, Microsoft doesn't actually have their own blockchain. They're blockchain agnostic, so they'll provide Ethereum and other blockchains. So there's no reason why they couldn't provide Stratis as part of their offering.
Right.
And that's the same with some of the other similar sort of enterprise blockchain projects that we're seeing. But as far as our competitive advantage over those guys is the fact that we are a real blockchain. We have a decentralized blockchain that's supported by thousands of nodes throughout the globe, rather than just an internal sort of distributed ledger that's a private closed source system.
How many nodes do you have?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000? And how did you find them? Is it just people volunteering?
Exactly, yeah. These are people that just download our wallet and run it on their PC.
Couldn't you be a partner with Ethereum and use their 15,000 miners?
No, it doesn't work like that. No. I mean, that number is always increasing, and we expect to see it increase significantly over the next year. But Ethereum is the number 2 blockchain. It's that's why they have 15,000 nodes, because it's just so well known.
Right. So if you were to explain blockchain in 50 words or less, how would you say that to a new audience?
I'd just explain it as so now we have traditional database systems called SQL or pick a name, and those systems require a lot of trust. So if you imagine the hospital system, if you imagine in the US, you have several hospitals, and all of those hospitals use a centralized database. That requires all of the hospitals to trust each other and also trust the data in that system. Whereas with a blockchain-backed system, there wouldn't be any trust required in any of the hospitals or the data, because you could prove via cryptography that everybody was acting in accordance with the system and that the data was valid. So it removes the trust, and you can imagine how that can apply to legal and so many other different industries where there's that shared database and that shared sort of trust.
So there you have these 1,000 miners taking a snapshot of the transaction, pretty much, holding it forever. Do these 1,000 people, they change the thousands of miners?
They can change on a day-to-day basis, literally when somebody shuts their laptop and their node goes off, and somebody opens up their laptop and their node comes online, you'll see them take over.
And who is the biggest culprit, in mining or using, lay people's laptops for mining? Who's the biggest culprit? Which is the website you should never visit before it will put a
that's a very good question.
It's a big issue, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I don't actually know which websites you should be careful of, but if I had to give advice, my advice would be to install ad blockers and also to turn off any type of scripting, so you can have
Flash.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Okay.
So it doesn't run in the first place.
Brilliant. So next year you're going to focus on BizDev.
Correct.
And partners in the US and partners in
all
Europe?
over the world,
Yes, wherever it's needed. Good luck to you.
Brilliant.
And I'll come see you in your booth.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thank you.